سلام میکنم به همه شما عزیزان و همراهان پرژن ورز جوایز پارسی. مژده هستم به همراه یکی از میهمانان عزیز نماینده استان اونتاریو. Thank you so much, MPP Sabawy. Thank you for accepting our invitation. It's my honor to speaking with you about Persian awards. If you can first introduce yourself, I don't want to just mispronounce your name or any other position that you have. If you can please introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mojdeh. My name is Sheref Sabawy. I am the MPP for Mississauga, Erin Mills riding, and I'm the PA for the Minister of Heritage, Sports, Tourism and Culture Industries, Honorable Minister Lisa McLeod. About myself, I'm an immigrant, so I came to Canada in 1995. Myself, with my wife, I'm the first immigrant. I have been working in the IT business since 1986, so I'm 35 years this year in IT. In different capacities, from network engineering to systems engineering development, system design. And before I come, I was a regional IT manager, Middle East for a petroleum company, managing 10 offices, 10 countries from IT prospect. When I came to Canada, of course, as any immigrant, I focused on my career to be able to fulfill my family. And after that, my wife started pursuing her career. She is a family physician, so she had to go through a long way to get her license and to start practicing. And after that, I started looking into how to pay back for the great country, Canada. I'm so grateful for everything Canada gave us and gave my family, gave my kids. Canada is a very, very family-oriented country. It's a great country to raise a family. The good thing about Canada is we are a little bit different than the U.S. Like I was when I was younger, when I was a student, I was very fascinated with the American model. But that's only because I didn't see other. But when I came to Canada, I discovered that there's better than the American model. Yes, we had everybody in the world, like they were fascinated with the American dream. But to be honest with you, when I came to Canada, I was fascinated with the Canadian dream, and the Canadian dream is very different than the American dream. The Canadian dream is to get a good family, get a good career, live a good life, and raise your kids in a very good environment, and being able to teach them to accept everyone, to live with everyone, to integrate with everyone. And not only that, it's actually to enjoy, embrace, celebrate the differences. I think we are very, very interesting country. Mm-hmm. You can't feel bored in Canada. Like if you came one day and say, I would like to do something different today, you are not gonna have to think twice or three times, because there will be 100 different things you never did or tried in your life you can go for. Let me go for some African food restaurant, or let me go to an event with indigenous, or let me go with to visit a museum about something which like I never visited before. Aga Khan Museum, Egyptian Museum, Coptic Museum, Persian event. So it is very, very different. And it's very interesting that I think as Canadians, we can't live anywhere else but Canada, because everywhere else will be very boring for us, because we are all the time celebrating, enjoying, visiting, having friends from all different aspects of of cultures. You know, it's very amazing how can we take for granted a lot of things.
That's great.
We're not
Thank you.
gonna feel that.
With this introduction, sorry I interrupt you. With this introduction, I can say that you even answered 3 of my questions. Thank you for first of all, it would be really kind of like for people who are listening to you, because you are an immigrant and you are a really successful immigrant and you are in politics as well. So just hearing from you that you've started and you are happy and you're successful, that's great. And the other thing is, I can just, my question, like in our Persian awards, is what do you think that is the importance of the culture and arts, especially for immigrants? You are an immigrant, as you said, that you built your life in this country as a Canadian. You're proud to be Canadian. So in your opinion, as a politician person, what do you think is the importance of culture and art?
As a politician, as a PA for the minister, I have to tell you that arts and culture is not only something we just celebrate. We are building together the Canadian fabric, and it is very impressive that you can actually recognize each piece of the mosaic by itself. Like you can identify like a Persian gallery or a Persian music festival, or like an occasion of the occasions, Nowruz or any other occasion, where you can actually feel like you are part of that. You are seeing it firsthand. It's not something you're watching on TV. You're actually living the experience of that, and that's very impressive, very, very impressive. And again, like as I mentioned, like it's not only that you feel proud to be Canadians, but we feel proud that we are Canadian. We feel proud with our roots, with our origins, with our language and culture and arts and music and food. Like, you know, like it's part of the experience. Even the fragrance, like if you walked into some place, Chinese place, Persian place, and you smelled something good, it's taking your head with that culture, even if it's not really part of the culture, but it's the ambience, the whole thing, the whole package of the cultural experience, I would say it.
And what do you think as a politician and like working in politics, you can support this art and culture, especially for immigrants?
Absolutely, like the Ministry of Tourism, Heritage, Sports, Tourism, and Culture Industries have lots of packages to encourage, to stimulate the cultural events. We have the Celebrate Ontario, where we always give grants and help cultural based festivities. So you know, like I live in Mississauga, and I love my city. The Celebration Square every week, the whole time. Of course, the COVID didn't happen, but I'm saying in general, you can actually schedule every weekend to be in the square without any pre-preparation. You just dump there, like jump in your car, go there, stop there, and there will be some cultural thing happen. Is it Ukrainian festival? Is it Italian festival? South American festival? Like you name it. Japanese, actually, we have weekend for the Japanese culture, and you can actually see the costumes of the warriors. You can see the swords. You can see the paintings. Like it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. And I think Canadians growing up, our second generation, new culture, the new generations, growing up in such an environment, I'm telling you, it's going to be very boring. My son is studying outside Canada, and he's telling me how boring it is to be not in Canada.
Of course, in the way that you're explaining, I think everybody wants to come to Canada now. Um, uh, Mr. Sabawy, what do you think is the primary role of art and culture to connect immigrants, newcomers, and citizens?
I think the culture and arts is part of the education of people about different countries. Like maybe before I get to know the Persian community and get involved with the Persian community, get involved with your amazing MPP, Michael Parsa. I didn't know too much about the occasions, the national occasions, not only national occasions, religious occasions, country, general country occasions, some of the habits, some of the cultures, some of the foods, music, everything. Even I attended one of the film festivals and I got to meet some of the famous actors of Persia, and that was good experience. So as I mentioned, like it's important for the education part, for me to know the other. And believe me, when we invest in educating each other about each other, there will be a lot of grinding, a lot of friction will disappear because people always fear the unknown. But people will get normalized. When I have friends from Persian origin, from Chinese origin, from Japanese origin, and so on, it's make it like this is the world. This is a new world. This is a global change, not only in Canada, but Canada is very magnified.
Yeah, of course. So in your, like you are an immigrant, so, and you mentioned in the beginning of the interview and you explained the path that you passed to be here and as a successful person and as a politician person as well. What do you think that, how can all of these immigrants, newcomers, that they are coming with their own dreams to Canada, how they can grow and how they can bring their art and culture in this country?
Okay, there's immigrant or immigration get into phases. When the people just first arrive, they get the cultural shock, the change in the environment, losing your age of friends and families and relatives surrounding you, the language barriers and everything else. So this culture shock might take a year and a half. Then you get into the second phase, which is I need to go back to my career. I need to rebuild, reestablish my life, stabilize my life. I would name it stabilize my life. So finding a good house or rent a good place and start planning what I'm gonna like. As soon as you arrive, your eyes is like somebody was in dark and came into a full light, so you can't see that much. As soon as you settle, the first shock goes, like the first year or so, then he start looking, okay, what's my plan? Like what's the steps I need to take to build up my career, or what's a path where I'm going to go? Then after he established or settled and established, and he's not worried about his finances and paying the bills and everything else, just stabilize his life, he start looking into how I can enjoy the new country. How can I discover, like I was very worried about building and stabilizing myself. Now everything is good. Now how I will enjoy the next period of time. And after that, how I will pay back for the country, how I get involved into the process, how can I involve in the decision making, especially if he got good ideas. If he got good ideas, he start thinking, if I have those good ideas, I need to get involved to make sure that somebody listen to that. So it's a phases. So you can't look into the whole thing as like one thing. Like if I'm new immigrant, I'm worried about getting a job and writing my resume and seeing what certificate I'm doing. If you told me, come on, let's go and have some fun into one of the festivals, like my weekend is full with study, reading, meeting with people, doing interviews, looking for a job on the internet. So I'm not really interested in that. So one of the most success factor is to pick the right niche. Pick the right niche. So you have to address the people who are in the stage of let's get involved. We need people from the different cultures to get involved because I will not be able to do a Persian festival. I need some Persian activist, volunteer, start taking the initiative to build that. And I enjoy it as a Canadian. I enjoy going there and enjoy celebrating. I enjoy the food. I enjoy the music. I learn too much in just being in this environment than reading about Persian or the Persian history.
Like the experience you're talking about, that is just, and the other thing that you mentioned is like phases. So it will happen. We have an expression in Farsi that you exactly explain it, that you need to build, you need to plant the seed and then take care of it, and then it will give you the result. That was really, yes. Yeah, thank you. I'm sure that you know that there is a lot of, especially Persian community that they are in university, they are in science and academic. What do you think that they can cope with society when they graduate from that like university, college, or when they finish their like graduation? And how, like, which situation they need to be part of the academic part? Because most of them, when they come, they want to be in the like university, or they want to be in the scientific part. What do you think about this kind of immigrant?
Okay, I'll tell you from actually that's a very, very I love this question. Because I can talk from my point of view. I am a professor in George Brown, so I teach IT, and I always give advice for the international students who are coming to Canada to study and live, and they choose Canada to be their career, like slash home country afterward. And as well as an Egyptian background. I don't know if you know or not, but the Egyptian community is the highest education in Canada, and 99% of the community is either doctors, pharmacists, engineers, or academia doctors and professors. So I live that every day. Mm-hmm. And it's twofold. Like one fold is actually the fact that they are in profession more than in business and stuff. And the second fact is the impact on that on the second generation. Like as we were born and raised in a set mind that university is a must. Like any parents wouldn't take less than that. Like baseline. This is just the baseline. Masters and PhDs and everything else will come later, but bottom line, baseline, bachelor degree. And they actually push their kids very much. And I feel in the same thing. Like I myself, I'm not saying I'm not suspect. I'm one of the suspects, but I mean, that's how we were born and raised. And we understood now that the world is not only degrees. There's always lots of success stories for people who maybe didn't got that chance of education, I'm saying. But nevertheless, when you come here as a professional, nowadays it's actually just the competition stuff. Like the competition, the amount of jobs available versus the amount of expertise, especially that we get immigrants from Dubai and from Saudi Arabia and from Kuwait and from Egypt and from Persia and from China and from everywhere. We take the top layer of those communities. So we have very highly qualified people. I would say Canada is having the highest qualified people in every profession in the world, because they choose to come here, and we filtered them, we screened them very well. They are best of the best. That makes the competition hard. When I came here, it wasn't maybe the case. Like when I came 1995, it was about like 25 years ago. It wasn't like that. But there was a bigger obstacle, the Canadian experience. You could be an astronaut somewhere, but you don't have the Canadian experience. That was a big obstacle for all immigrants. Like how I will get the Canadian experience if I didn't work, if I didn't get a job. So it's like the egg or chicken first kind of situation. So that's why I always tell everybody the first and the hardest job is the first job. As soon as you get a job in Canada, then things will be moving, like developing simply and easy and smooth. You need to get the first job. The first job is the most difficult job. So again, like when I talk to my students, I say, you could have lots of plans, but take what comes first. Like when somebody tell me I would like we are giving like a niche of credits in networking, design, programming, management, network management, blah blah blah, like lots of because we don't know where the direction is gonna go, so we give like an umbrella of credits to educate them 360 kind of degree in every aspect. So when somebody say no, my career will be in security, but the offer I got today is in networking, but I have an interview next week for a security job. I say, if you have the interview in the same day, towards end of the day, sign the offer you get. Because A, we need the first job. B, you can go back to your career, like the bland career, after you get the first job. You just need to break that ice, then things will be easy. You can go wherever you want. The third thing is, when you go for an interview and you have a job, you are already in job. Your interview status and skills will be 400 times your skills and situation when you go for a job, when they know like you have been 7 months in home, like what you were doing the last 7 months. Well, I was laid off, I'm waiting home, or I just arrived, I couldn't get a job. This is not the best situation. If you say I'm working here, then you will most probably will be more relaxed. You talking from point of education, like you already know because you are experienced, you are working in the Canadian environment, and you can negotiate much better. So that's what I'm saying. I give them advice. What comes first, take it. I can't say that I didn't learn a lot from working in Tim Horton for 7 months as night shift, pouring coffee and baking donuts and muffins. I learned a lot about the Canadian environment just from working as a Tim Horton when I was like master degree, the equivalent in IT. But I learned it. I took the opportunity to learn more about the Canadian environment, about the Canadian people, about different aspects of life in Canada, how things to be done in here, because every country has their own way of doing things. So you have to learn that. So definitely I learned it a lot, even from working a simple job like pouring coffee and talking to the people.
That's great. You mentioned first step is the hardest step. So take it and prioritize, and you'll be there, but you need to just, we have an expression in Farsi that there is a ladder. You can't jump on top of it. You need to just go step by step. Steps. Yeah, exactly. So do you think that as a politician person, just as that, in that perspective, if immigrants share their experience, they're going to grow? Do you think that this is a good way to grow in the society?
Absolutely, because as I mentioned, it's a learning curve. It's a learning step-by-step learning. So if you are an activist or a community keen activist person, you should let other people learn from your experiences. You can tell the people, I think you should do this, you can do that. You can have generic advice, and can have a specialized advice. Like as an IT guy, I walk that road. When some new immigrant come in the IT business, they tell him talk to Sheref. He maybe know more about that than anybody else. And definitely I would go for coffee, try to understand what his expertise are and give him some directioning in like what's equivalent to that in here, or what jobs could suit him, what could interest him, or if he don't want to go that way, how he can study, what can he study to change that to a different career. If he like, Canada have a very nice feature. It's not, it's like never late. You can do whatever you like. I seen a lot of people who are in top experiences, top expertise, and when they came, they said, I think that's a good opportunity to go back to my dream to be X and Y and Z. I tell you a story. I met with an Egyptian doctor. He's the radiologist, top radiologist, like he was managing all the radiology departments for all the GTA area hospitals. So he's top notch radiologist. When I was visiting him, all of a sudden, in the middle of the certificates, I found PNG certificate. So it's like, that's your name. He said, yeah, I'm originally as an engineer. But when I came to Canada, I decided to change my career and become a doctor.
Wow.
So he's putting PNG certificate beside faculty, Canadian Doctors and Surgeons of Ontario certificate, and all the other certificates. Of course, there's more into like the medical side of things. But he wanted to be a doctor. His dream was a doctor. He couldn't make it. When he came here, he did his PNG. So his most probably first job was an engineer, but then he changed his career to be a doctor. So never too late. Never too late. And that's amazing.
Yeah, like never too late. So you can choose to follow your dreams anytime in Canada. So
yes,
I can say that that's a privilege to live in Canada.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In your opinion, how the culture and art can bring, like the immigrant, they are bringing culture and art to the new country, which is going to be their country. And what do you think that the importance of the culture and art and scientist awards, like Persian awards, is going to show the culture, is going to encourage the culture and identify the culture and art in the society?
You know, I always say that people go back to their grid, no matter what. So you can try to live as Canadian or follow the Canadian way of living, but inside you, the Persian person is still there. He's not going anywhere. And as soon as you just lose a little bit the pressures, he will start coming up and people will go back to their grid. So that caused lots of internal pressures for the immigrants, feeling that they are losing their entity. They are afraid about kids losing their entity, or kids become, oh, he's not going to become Persian like me. He's not going to be like, he's going to change and I wouldn't recognize him, blah, blah, blah. So that's very big part of the worries about immigrants. When you give them the chance to just live their grid within the Canadian outlines, they actually find that piece of relief, and they have the chance to teach and raise their kids in a way that they are Persian in a way, or like their original grid. They are not afraid that no, we have to teach him to be Canadian because we don't want him to suffer like what we are suffering now. Like imagine if you're in an environment where people are against cultural, they want you to be 100% Canadian or 100% American. Forget about your culture. That's home, not here. You are going to try to stress out that in your kids, teach your kids that for you to be in harmony. You have to forget about your origins. You have to focus in being American or Canadian. When you have the chance to be proud of your roots, you can raise your kids to be proud of their roots as well. I teach him. He's proud to be part of a culture which was like 7,000 years of civilization. He's not. Yes, he's Canadian and proud Canadian. He's 100% Canadian, heart and soul. But he have roots, and he's proud of these roots. That's a big, big, big relief. When I was in Germany, I studied in Germany, in Hamburg, and in Germany the environment is totally different than here. And I met a lot of second generation who actually, I would say, totally lost. They are not accepted by the society in general because they are kind of from foreign origins. And in the same way, they didn't get into an environment where even they learn language or learn culture. So they are not even part of their own culture. Like when they hang around with the people from their origin, they don't find themselves because they don't know anything about the culture other than my origin was that. And when he tried to integrate with the community don't accept him because he's not from us. He's like foreign origins. And those second generation are really like I know two who already commit suicide from second generation just for this. And I didn't stay there except like less than a year. So you can imagine how big problem is that, and we don't feel it here, and we maybe not recognizing how much important, how good, how amazing it is that our kids are grown in an environment which welcome them with their origins, with their culture, with their roots, and it's amazing that you find a proud Canadian who's Indian talking about India in the same circle or in the same even drink circle or in evening. Another proud Canadian from Persian origin talking about that how we do this in Persia or how we do this in Egypt or how we do this in Pakistan or how we do that in China. It is very, very interesting to sit in a multicultural group and discuss anything. I'm telling you anything, even like how we wash dishes, like anything, any topic. You will be amazed how interesting it is to hear from different people from different cultures.
Great. So what is your idea, like in Persian Awards, there's a lot of volunteer that they are working, including me as well. Do you think that these people who are working voluntarily for Persian Awards and showing the culture, just explaining and encourage people about the Persia and about the culture, do you think that they can just like develop the culture and art of Persia? What is your idea about these people?
You know, the people who are from a specific origin, they will be very delighted, very happy to speak about their origins, speak about their music, speak about how great is the arts in their country, how nice is the music, how nice is the dancing, whatever is the type of arts or cultural activities or a major dance or like one of the famous dances or whatever. You just need to embrace them, encourage them, and trigger it. You just open the gate and it will come. Like every one of us, every immigrant in Canada, just scratch him by saying, how things going in India those days? And that's it. This is a very simple question of 3 words. How things going in China? How things going in Persia? And he can talk for 2-3 hours about what's going on in there. So all what you need is get those volunteers, tell them what to do, because lots of people want to do, but they don't know how to. They don't know how to get involved. They don't know how, they don't believe that they can do. You just have to believe in them, give them the confidence that every small part is part of the structure, even if it's a small. even if you can't speak good English. No big deal. If you have an accent, no big deal. If you even did a mistake when you are speaking about some subject, who cares? You are speaking your heart, and people feel when you speak out of your heart.
I've heard when I started my career here in Canada, I've heard it from my boss, thanks her. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So,
People who are shy to talk because they think that their accent is gonna annoy the other people, or they will be embarrassed, or people will pick on their accents, or if they did a mistake in saying like a word differently or whatever. Don't care. Especially here in Canada, nobody really cares about that anymore, because everybody have an accent. I speak English in the Egyptian accent. Another guy speaks the English in an Indian accent and Chinese accent and everything. Like saying Sabawy, you were in the beginning of the introduction. Every class, every semester, when I first take attendance, I say, by the way, just housekeeping. You are in Canada. I could maybe say your name in a very funny way. Please, this is my mistake. This is fine, but there's no offense. My name is Sabawy. Many times I've been told Subway, Shabawi, Sabawy, Sabaw, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's me. And I don't get offended. And I tell the students, please don't get offended. All I'm asking you, if I'm saying it in a very bad, I destroyed it, because students are coming from everywhere, from Sri Lanka, from Persia, from here, from there. And there's, I'm sorry, there's very difficult names to pronounce. I had a guy, his name is like 28 characters. Like very, very difficult to say. So I say, you have two choices. Either you teach me how to say it, or give me an abbreviation. I need like 5 characters. Just cut it, slice it, make it short, whatever. Give me your nickname. I will use it. If you get offended, if you don't get offended, as soon as you see me trying to say your last name, you will know it's you. Just say I'm here.
Yeah, that's the best way. Mr. Sabawy, what do you think, what is the role of local media to empower the art and culture?
You know, I'll tell you something funny. Like when I have a hard day, like really hard day, when I go home, I don't go to bed. I start looking for some comedia movie or a show or a stand-up comedy or whatever, because I think the best solution for stress, the best cure for stress and for disappointing, for even for depression sometimes, is comedy. And I love that. Like there's a very famous Egyptian actor. His name is Fouad Mohandis. He died. He already deceased. But when I was a kid, they used to bring a movie of him every Sunday during the hour of the school. And when they, like every week they get something different, but the week they getting Mr. Fouad movie, I get sick on that Sunday. So then go to school because I need to watch that movie. I have to stay home that day to watch that movie, and I will give up a day in the school for that. So I like comedy. I think that comedy is the best relief. And it's not actually, it doesn't have to be like, it's not all the time comedy for the sake of laughing. Comedia deliver a very strong critic message, and if it's used or employed properly, it can be very, very effective. I remember there's many political situations. I'm not going to name any, but there's many, many political situations where one joke or a caricature or whatever lived forever because of the how concise and concentrate was the message, and the people will get it right away. They will laugh first, They'll say like, what the heck is this? This is actually exactly like a politician can say in 2 hours, this caricature or this comic or joke, said it in 3 seconds.
Yeah. So the local media is the best, I can say, power to empower everything.
Absolutely, and it link you to your country, home country as well. Like we maybe get disconnected while ago when we didn't had that social media and IPTV and all those nice channels. Every channel is here, but the local media is actually doing two things. It's more geared towards not all the international news. It's a news of my home country, but in a localized and reflected way, how that will reflect us here as an immigrants for this country. So it's like lots of people will say, whatever going in India is going in India, whatever is going in Egypt is going in Egypt. No, it's not. It's affecting us as an immigrants for all aspects of our life. And those people will have to visit their countries, and they have relatives, they have families, they are connected to their home country no matter what.
Thank you so much for all of your kind of like experience that you shared with us, and all of really good tips for immigrants and acknowledged Persian awards as well. Is there anything else that you would like to add, or is there anything that I haven't asked you and you would like to talk about?
First of all, I would like to thank you, Mojdeh, for this very, I would say, very warm interview. We are here to help people. Like majority of politicians, by the way, politics is not an easy thing, and it's not fun. Honestly, it's not fun at all. I watch it 100% of the time. You are measured 100% of the time. You are judged 100% of the time, and you get suspected 100% of the time. Like people suspect that we are doing this for a specific reason or a specific beneficiaries. We are here to help people, and every politician have something back in his mind is my legacy. I would like my legacy. I would like people to remember me as a politician who helped people, who did something good. And I would like to thank Mr. Barsa for bringing the Persian Heritage Month. I did the Egyptian Heritage Month. I'm so proud. One of the most proudest moments in my life, I would say. And I really understand how proud he is, how proud his people, his Persian origin people are. And lots of people mix the Heritage Month or the Heritage Week or whatever we are doing, think it's just like, oh, we need to do festivals. No, it's not only that. It's a recognition to the community. It's thank you from the government. It's a recognition from the Canadian government or the Ontario government saying, thank you very much. You contribute to our wealth. You contribute to our growth. And we are so proud to have you here. It's a recognition. It's a respect to the community. It gives the community lots of encouragement that they are recognized. Their origins, countries or origin cultures are recognized. And it helps a lot. It feels wonderful. Two days ago on Saturday night, we lit the CN Tower with the Egyptian flag for the Egyptian Heritage Month. And a lady came. She's about 70s, from Egyptian origin, I can tell. And she spoke to one of our colleagues and she said, I have been here for 40 years. This is the first time I see something like that. And she started crying. And she asked the guy, said, can I give you a hug?
Wow, that's
unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thank you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. It's just brought tears to my eyes as well, because I understand that how important, especially for the last generation, is acknowledging the roots, as you said. And on behalf of Persian Awards, we thank you for doing for accepting this invitation first and talking about culture and talking about Mr. Michael Parsa, like just acknowledging all of the culture and talking about it and supporting, because support is the main key, especially for other culture. And the other thing I can say is just I had a really warm interview with you. I could feel it. And because the way that you explained the path that you pass is just encouraging other immigrants that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sabawy. I asked you first to not make sure that I'm not, because I've got the pronunciation really wrong. I just wanted to make sure. And hopefully we will see you in some of our festivals or the awards when it's just happening. We will invite you and we will see you in person.
Invite me. I promise you I will be there.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all of the audience that watching me with my guest, Mr. Sabawy from Ontario. خیلی ممنون از اینکه ما رو تماشا کردین. به همراه میهمان عزیزمون از همه شما عزیزان خداحافظی میکنم تا دیدار دیگه. لبخند از رو لباتون دور نشه. Thank you so much, Mr. Sabawy.